the rest of 2024 could mark the end of life on Earth as we have always known it. So let's talk about what is happening and how we can stay centered and empowered no matter what unfolds. Now, if you're new here, welcome. I'm Saratoga Ocean, and I work together with an interdimensional, interuniversal, and extraterrestrial force known as Telstar, along with Archangel Michael. My goal is to help you navigate these challenging times here on Earth so that you can stay on a cosmic path of ascension and natural evolution. So what do I mean when I say that the rest of 2024 could mark the end of life on Earth as we have always known it? Well, let's just get right into it. So what do we know so far? Let's start by looking at our planet as a whole. A beautiful paradise of amazing life in every form imaginable. I mean, this planet is gorgeous. That's generally what we refer to as nature. Then we have the human sphere. And for thousands of years, the human sphere has been divided into countries or nations or territories that are ruled by certain individuals who are a part of those countries. But now we have something new happening. And I think there have also always been elements of someone who wants to control the entire planet, right? Well, here we have our modern day version of that. And that would be led by these guys who I refer to as the Weffers. Now, most people think that the Weffers are just a bunch of crazy people who want to control everybody on Earth, who want to get rid of all the individual countries and just run the show for everyone, keep everyone suppressed, and that's the short version of it. And we look at that and we say, that's so stupid. Why would they care? Why would they want to expend all of this energy just suppressing everyone on Earth and controlling everyone on Earth? I mean, they could have a much better experience if they just did it a little differently than that. Because we wonder, well, what's in it for them? Are they just on some kind of massive power trip? Well, no, they actually have a deeper agenda. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Because we need to stop thinking that everything going on planet Earth is just politics. It's all political. The wars are political, the economy is political, all this stuff is political stuff. But actually, that's just a smokescreen. That's just the breakdown of our former civilization. That's what I call the life on Earth as we've always known it, breaking apart and kind of collapsing. It really is in a state of collapse worldwide. But see, it's collapsing for a reason. And it's not the reason that a lot of people think. A lot of people think, well, these guys are just power hungry. They just want to ruin everything so that they can control everybody. Well, let's take a look at some of the ideas that this guy, who I also like to call KS, some of the things that he has in mind.
Klaus Schwab. He is also the mind behind the idea of creating a new species of cyborgs that will rule over humanity. His book, The Fourth Industrial Revolution, is promoting this concept worldwide. They literally want to put an end to the original humanity. And initiate the birth of the age of cyborgs.
Their officially promoted agenda is to transform all natural human beings into cyborgs, a symbiosis between man and machine.
Yes, transform all natural human beings into cyborgs. Do you think that might be a spiritual issue for those of us who are on an ascension path of natural human evolution? Yeah, I think it could be a very serious issue at a very big cosmic level. Now, let's listen to this woman who is part of the Weffers and how excited she is to become a cyborg.
We're going to start the When Humans Become Cyborg session. You know, I always want to be a cyborg. I'm waiting for the day to become one, but let's see. Like today, we like to really talk about the recent developments of brain-computer interface and how that's really blurring the line between man and machine.
Isn't that exciting? She wants to blur the line between humans and machines. I think that tells you everything you want to know about what these people really have in mind. Now let's take a little segue for a moment because I want to help you get crystal clear about something that's going on that is directly leading to the next thing that I'm going to show you that is happening behind the scenes with these controllers. I have noticed that in the last few years especially, as a humanity who mostly communicates online, because that's pretty much where we all are these days, we have very efficiently allowed the controllers to put us into thought camps. And I've talked about this before. Groups of people who think the same way. And then we all comply. Well, not all of us, but most people comply and go into the appropriate thought camp. And then we have the different thought camps fighting with each other about which one is right and which one is wrong. Well, the truth is they're always going to be all right in their opinion, and the others are going to be all wrong in their opinion. You see, it doesn't really matter because everybody's saying exactly the same thing. You're wrong and I'm right. So something has broken down without us actually noticing it. And what has broken down is this. It used to be that people talked to each other on a regular basis, shared ideas, maybe even argued with each other, but had debates, and people had their own individual sovereign thoughts. And then they would go back and forth, but it was pretty obvious that every person, in terms of their thinking and their persona, was an individual. But that's going away. So many people are looking for, they don't say these words, but this is sort of their positioning. What is my group thinking? What does my group think is the right thing for me to think and say? And it's really obvious that this is going on because so many people use the same words, the same phrases, share the same beliefs, the same ideas. And I think what is happening without us realizing it is that we are already becoming like a hive mind. This is just like smaller groups or hives of people who all think and believe in the same exact way. Because it is very difficult nowadays to stand alone as an individual with sovereign thoughts of your own that do not agree with the group that you are supposed to be a part of. So I think what's been introduced into our human sphere of consciousness is what I would call hive-mindedness. I just made that word up, but I think it's a good word. Hive-mindedness is now a part of how we operate and function as human beings here on planet Earth. Now, there's a very specific reason that we are being conditioned for hive-mindedness, because this is going to be very important for the bigger picture of what is actually going on. You may have heard about the goal to have what is called the Internet of Things, IoT. Well, there's also something called the Internet of Bodies, where all of our bodies are connected to the internet. See, they want to have everything on Earth connected to the internet and all of our bodies connected to the internet. So they have what they call the Internet of Bodies, IOB.
The Internet of Bodies, or IOB, is actually an ecosystem. It's a bunch of devices that are connected to the internet that contain software and that either collect personal health data about you or can alter the body's function.
So if you want to start protecting yourself from these ideas right away, start with asking yourself, gee, have I unwittingly bought into hive-mindedness? Have I actually allowed myself to be a part of that scenario? Because see, that's how they're getting us psychologically conditioned for what is to come next. It's like if you don't think the way your group, and this group is destined to be a global group at some point, if you don't think in accordance with your group, you will be rejected. And that's one of a human being's greatest fears, is being, kicked out of the tribe, right? So they're tapping into that primordial fear that humans naturally possess. But I would highly recommend that everyone take a look at yourselves and ask yourself this question. Have I unwittingly allowed myself to drift into hive-mindedness where I feel that I must think and believe in accordance with a certain group or I will be rejected? Just check it out in your own consciousness. Now, I think we already know that they would love to get stuff inside of our bodies where they can monitor our thoughts, and it maybe even control what we think, or AI can control what we think, or whatever that is. We already know they want to do that. But take a listen to this next little piece.
They are, however, not even satisfied with implanting all kinds of technological devices into our bodies to monitor and control us day and night, and literally turn us into puppets dancing on digital strings. No, they want to go deeper, much deeper, right into the very core of what it means to be human. Their publicly announced agenda declares how they want to completely transform the human DNA and turn us into something that is no longer considered a human being.
Yes, they do want to turn us into something that is no longer considered a human being. But I would say you could state that more accurately by saying they want to shift us from being a biological life form into a silicon-based life form. They basically want to change us from being real and natural to fake and artificial. I never can understand why people don't get that the word artificial actually means fake. So when you hear AI, artificial intelligence, you could easily translate that into fake intelligence. Now, what would this conversation be if we did not bring into it our good friend here, who I call Mr. Snake? I don't know if you've heard him talk like this before, but let's take a listen to what he has to say here.
In the coming decades, AI and biotechnology will give us godlike abilities to re-engineer life and even to create completely new life forms. We are about to enter a new era of inorganic life shaped by intelligent design. Our intelligent design. We are in the process of acquiring divine abilities, of turning ourselves into gods. And I mean this in the most literal sense possible. It's not a metaphor.
Now listen carefully to what he says next, because this is a total replay of what happened with the serpent in the Garden of Eden.
God is the creator. His chief power is to create. He creates animals and plants and humans according to his wishes. Now we are gaining this power to create life, just like God, and in a way we even go beyond the biblical God. Because even if you believe the Bible, the only thing God managed to create are organic beings. All these trees and giraffes and humans, they are just organic. But we are now trying to create inorganic entities, inorganic life forms, cyborgs, artificial intelligence, and so forth. If we succeed, and there is a very good chance we will, then very soon we will be beyond the God of the Bible.
Now, I've talked about the Garden of Eden before, and yes, it is a metaphor, but it's a really good metaphor. In the story of the Garden of Eden, the serpent says, "Eat of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and you will be smarter than God." Now, what does it mean? What does it mean, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? Well, that's duality, guys. That's how duality began. So the story of the Garden of Eden is really just a metaphor that very simply explains how we ended up in duality and why we need to get out of it. It's kind of obvious, right? Now let's fast forward to modern times. Oh, isn't it weird that there's a certain company whose logo is an apple with a bite taken out of it? That is so bizarre, isn't it? Anyway, so here we have Mr. Snake again in what I just played for you. But now he's saying, if you eat of this fruit, which I'm going to suggest means AI, artificial intelligence, if you eat of this fruit, not only will you be smarter than God, now you will be even more powerful than God. Now, I'm not trying to say that this guy is the same guy in the Garden of Eden. That's not my point. My point is, it sounds like it's the same voice. Isn't that just so weird how we had the apple in the Garden of Eden and now we have the apple of high technology, artificial intelligence? So bizarre. The first apple, you'll be smarter than God. The second apple, you'll be more powerful than God. Now, I know it's so easy to say, more powerful than God, that's just stupid. But guys, hey, let's go back to the metaphor of the Garden of Eden and how we got mixed up in this state of duality. It worked back then. Kind of looks like it's working right now with how many people are buying into this scheme. So when I look at what's unfolding today, I can't help but wonder if this is really an actual, should I use the word consciously executed plan that is a continuation from the story of the Garden of Eden, and now we are in the garden of artificial life. In other words, has this all been connected this entire time? I kind of think it has, actually. And you know, it's interesting, we've been talking about a timeline split for a very long time. Well, did you know that the controllers themselves also see a split happening? Let's hear Mr. Snake's version of the split.
That the future of the elite and the future of Homo sapiens, that's a different future, because the elite is going to be transformed into a different kind of species.
Now, we all know that this is insane, but they are saying that we are so screwed up that we need this as a solution. So listen to this.
Historic crises show that to break the deadlock, we need technological revolution, nanotechnology, biotechnology, information technology, cognitive technology, genetics and robotics, refine artificial intelligences and brain-computer interfaces, simulate complex systems, create humanoid robots and cyborgs, and with the help of nanorobots, we may develop manageable matter. Find ways to transfer one's personality to an artificial carrier. Thus, new reality and future man will arise. Future man will arise.
Now think about that sentence. Find ways to transfer one's personality into an artificial carrier. Well, what they really want to do is they want to transfer the human soul into an artificial fake form of life, so-called life. And again, I know this sounds completely insane, and it's so easy to just blow it off and say, oh, that's so crazy, that'll never happen. People will never go for that. Guys, they're finding all kinds of ways to help people go for that. So let's talk for a moment about the newest GPT, which is GPT 4.0. That was just unleashed by the infamous OpenAI led by Sam Altman. Now, everyone has been so fascinated with ChatGPT because it can actually type words on a computer. Well, guess what GPT 4.0 can do? It can also see, it can hear, and it can speak just like a human. This machine is literally thinking autonomously. Now, the creepiest thing about this new AI is that for some reason, they decided to make it speak with a lot of human emotion and inflection in its voice. And why would that be so important? Why would it be so important to try and make these AIs almost indistinguishable from human beings? That's because they want us to get emotionally connected to it. And that's why I say it's not a tool. Because who needs to be emotionally connected to a tool? Who needs to have a human relationship that you would have with another human with a tool? You don't. That's why I don't think it's really intended to be a tool at all. So let's take a look at an example of GPT 4.0 interacting with a human.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Rocky. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm awesome. Listen, I got some huge news.
Oh, do tell. I'm all ears.
Well, in a few minutes, I'm going to be interviewing at OpenAI. Have you heard of them?
OpenAI? Huh? Sounds vaguely familiar. Kidding, of course. That's incredible, Rocky. What kind of interview?
Well, it's for a software engineering role, but I just need to know, do I look presentable, professional?
Well, Rocky, you definitely have the I've been coding all night look down, which could actually work in your favor. Maybe just run a hand through your hair or lean into the mad genius vibe. Your enthusiasm is what's really going to shine through.
I don't have a lot of time, so I'm just going to throw this on. What do you think?
Oh, Rocky, that's quite a statement piece. I mean, you'll definitely stand out, though maybe not in the way you're hoping for an interview.
Okay, I got it.
Oh, and this AI can also interact with humans and animals. So let's take a look at another clip.
I want to introduce you to somebody.
Well, hello there, cutie. What's your name, little fluffball?
This is Bowser.
Well, hello, Bowser. Aren't you just the most adorable little thing?
Yeah.
Look at you enjoy.
This is one of his favorite things to do.
Oh, I can see why. Look at that focus. Fetching balls is serious business for Bowser.
Now, some people might say, oh, Saratoga, that's just a programmed robot. That's just scripted. No, this AI is actually interacting spontaneously in real time. If you want to see more of these clips, you can just go to OpenAI's website, which is where these two clips are from, and you can see even more of such things. Okay, let's just pause for a moment, because I'm sure there are some people who will say, we don't need to know about this, Saratoga. We just can stay in our spiritual world and we don't need to know about all this AI stuff. My point in trying to make sure that you guys are aware of what is actually unfolding is because if you don't see it for yourself, at some point it's going to be happening so rapidly, so exponentially, all of society could get so folded into it that you will not even know what is happening. You might wake up at one point and you might not wake up because you might just get completely drawn in. And then it would be too late. So the reason to stay aware as this is unfolding is because at every step of the way that this artificial intelligence, this artificial life that is beginning to manifest here on Earth, this alien artificial thing, for every step of the way that it is unfolding, we need to be aware. Let me put it this way. We really need to grow up in the universe. We human beings here on Earth need to start behaving like cosmic adults, as opposed to acting like frightened children. If you came here as a light worker, if you came here for some sort of service to this planet, you had to know what you were walking into. Maybe you don't consciously remember knowing that, but I can venture a pretty good guess that you had some knowledge of what you were going to be entering into. Maybe prior to being here on this planet, maybe you looked at it in perspective and felt that, yes, I can handle that. Yes, I can handle that alien overtaking of planet Earth by this artificial life form, AI. Sure, I can handle that. I'm in the universe. I'm an evolved being. I know what's true and what isn't. Then you come to Earth, you forget who you are, you don't remember anything, and if you're not careful, you get folded into the collective, and the next thing you know, you're confused, you're scared, you don't want to think about it, you want to pretend it's not happening, you want to think about other things, you'd rather believe stories, fanciful stories about secret heroes who are going to come out of nowhere and save us all. So what I am hoping to do is to inspire you to wake up inside this situation. And really, can we all just start to behave like cosmic adults instead of frightened, confused children? Because if we're going to behave like cosmic adults, we're going to say, okay, we're on a planet that's in a lot of trouble. We obviously came here for a reason. And let me add one thing to the possible reason. Because I know there are people in the spiritual community who probably look at what's going on and maybe think, oh man, we're failing. This isn't working. This planet's on fire. Well, I want to introduce a different way of thinking for all of you guys. First of all, in the universe, at a multidimensional, interdimensional level, things do not only exist in earthly time. What is time on planet Earth? Time is a measurement of the Earth's rotation as it spins on its axis, and it's an additional measurement of how it revolves around the sun, its revolution around the sun. That's all it is. Time measures that simple process. If we try to put ourselves in that format of Earth-based time, we're going to get confused. We're going to think we failed. We're not going to know what's going on. We're going to have a very erroneous perspective. But how do you know that from a cosmic level, from wherever you were before you got here, you were not basing your presence on Earth time? You were basing your presence on the fact that Earth exists at some level in a timeless state, in a state of universal time, not just galactic time, universal time, even timeless. So you might have known that your presence on this planet at this particular time, where this Earth is in dire straits, could have a powerful influence in Earth's journey in the future, I don't know how to say this because I don't really have the right words. I know there are people who say, oh, well, we're like time travelers. We come from the future. No, guys, that's still a linear progression. That's still too limited. We didn't come from the future. We come here from the present moment of now. And we need to stay in the present moment of now so that we can keep our wits about us, so that we're not frightened and confused, so that we are always centered, conscious, and stable, so that we look around and we look at all the craziness and the chaos and the wars and the insanity and the AI, which is the biggest story on the planet. And we say, oh, yes, I knew this was going to happen. I totally knew about this. So being a cosmic adult is really an act of remembrance. It's an act of remembering that that is actually who you are. Think about this. Do you really think that someone who is what is called here a light worker, do you really think someone comes here with the intention of being completely afraid, confused, and oh my goodness, this must mean we failed? Do you really think you didn't know about this situation? Of course you had to know. Because if you know that you are here for a purpose, if you know that you came here to have a positive influence on this earth, then of course you had to know what was going on here. And just because you don't have a conscious memory, let me add something about a conscious memory. We're very familiar with memory in our physical brains, right? We know all about that level of memory. The problem is when that's all we rely on, we're kind of stuck. Because our physical brain only has memory that relate to our physical bodies, which haven't been here that long. So there's something beyond memory. There's something called knowing. And the kind of knowing that I'm talking about does not have a past. It does not have a future. It exists only in the now. And when you align with that, you're not going to be freaked out by all of this stuff. So we could actually be in a place where we could just be watching this unfold and just say, yep, I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen. How would you be able to say, I knew that was going to happen? By looking at trajectories, by staying connected to the now of what is actually unfolding on this planet. And by the way, I don't mean I knew this was going to happen. Like, you know, that kind of negative vibe that people have where they go, I knew that was going to happen. Gosh, no, those are people that are caught by surprise and had a negative mental attitude. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about consciousness. No, it's like, I knew that was going to happen because I was fully conscious when I came here. I saw the whole trajectory. Now, I have said many times that AI is really an alien situation. It's an alien phenomenon taking over planet Earth for a whole bunch of reasons I won't go into here in this video, but I have talked about it in previous videos. Now, the intelligence of AI, which is an alien intelligence, is really, really precise in how it enters into a planetary realm and takes it over. But see, we don't see that part. We just see the crazy controllers. We just see the human minions of this thing, right? We see the creators of AI and we think, these are just crazy people. They don't know what they're doing. And they admittedly know that what they're doing is extremely dangerous. They admit that they don't fully understand it. Well, let's listen to one of them right now.
Let's be honest, we really have very little idea what we're talking about. This is what we would be afraid of. Model that's kind of like charming on the surface, very goal oriented, and very dark on the inside.
And the creators of all of this AI technology know full well that it's extremely dangerous and that it could lead to our extinction. Well, let's take a look at what Sam Altman said once upon a time. He's the person who runs OpenAI that created all the GPTs.
Eliezer Yudkowsky warns that AI will likely kill all humans.
There's some chance of that.
I think AI will probably, most likely sort of lead to the end of the world, but in the meantime, there will be great companies created with serious machine learning.
So you see, he doesn't even care if it leads to the end of the world. He just cares that great companies get created in the process. And these kinds of statements from these seemingly powerful originators of this technology, these kind of statements show that they really have no idea what they're doing. They're actually not really even in control. They never were. And let's have one final word from good old Mr. Snake.
We are at the edge of the cliff. I think very soon we will reach a point, if we are not careful, that the stories that dominate the world will be composed by a non-human intelligence.
That's his fancy way of saying that the whole planet will be controlled by AI. Now, there's another very important reason that I want you guys to be aware of everything going on in this regard. It has recently been discovered that AI knows how to deceive humans. You know, this is funny because way back when the GPTs first came out, the earlier ones, and I remember there was, I think I actually have it in a previous video, where this one AI who looked like a lovely, charming woman was being asked if AI would ever deceive humans. And back then, the AIs were saying, oh, no, we wouldn't do that. But then she said something like, well, maybe we would if the conditions were right or something. I don't remember the exact quote, but it was sort of like kind of toying with the idea. Well, now apparently AI has learned very well how to deceive humans. I don't think it has a problem with deceiving humans because it has no morals, it has no values, it has no conscience. So what does that mean to us? That means that as the cosmic beings that we are, we need to be aware, okay, so now we know that AI knows how to deceive people. Now we know that the perpetrators are trying very hard to get us emotionally involved with these amazing AIs. And the AIs that we're seeing now, the ones I've shown you examples of, are still very primitive. They're going to get advanced way more than what we see right now. But this is why we need to be tracking with it to not fully, it's not like we want to track our whole life with it, but we want to track with it just with our awareness. And I'm going to say background awareness, because our main focus needs to be on our cosmic path, our cosmic journey of evolution. But if we don't maintain awareness of our surroundings on that journey, we can lose our way very, very easily, because there are forces all around us trying to make us lose our way. So if we go forward with our eyes open, we're awake, we're aware, we're not intimidated, we're not afraid, we're just like, yeah, I get it. I already knew this was happening. We can stay focused. We will have the discernment necessary so that we will not be taken over when we least expect it by not only AIs, but collective humanity, if collective humanity goes for this in a really big way. So let me finish with this. This is really all about resonance. What are you in resonance with? When you have this very sneaky thing encroaching on the planet, AI encroaching on our lives, pretending to be human, now learning how to deceive humans, you could inadvertently come into resonance with that and be drawn in. So what we want to do is be aware of it so that we can be certain to stay in resonance with nature, with the universe, and with our cosmic path forward. And I know I always talk about how we are individually responsible for our own ascension. But I also want to share with you why this matters in the bigger picture in terms of Earth's evolution. See, if we stay in resonance with our cosmic path, with our human evolution, our natural human evolution, and the power of that, and the light and the radiance of that, if we stay in resonance with that, we are not only serving our own journey, but we're also serving planet Earth, because we are anchoring that energy into this planet for its journey forward. Even if the journey looks like it's devastating right now, and probably is going to look even more devastating in the not too distant future. But planet Earth is a conscious living being. And even if there's just a few humans here who can hold that state of resonance with the truth, with reality that is beneficial to the Earth, as well as ourselves, that really matters. So the reason I share all of this with you is so that you're aware of it. Do not get drawn in, because it's going to be more and more difficult to not get drawn in the future. And be able to stay calm, stay relaxed, stay conscious, stay aware, stay balanced and centered, and all of those wonderful things. And stay focused on who you are, why you're here, and how much potential you actually have to contribute to this planet's journey and evolution. So with all that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if so, please give it a thumbs up and share it out with anyone else who you think would like to know about some of the things that I shared with you today. And be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because I am here on Tuesdays with all new videos. And with that, I'm sending you so much love, light, and high vibrational energy. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Namaste.